is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and it's just after the holiday seasons, and of course, everybody's smiling a little bit. I know I am. Unwrap my gift, and there it was, a Cowboys victory. But, of course, I like to open my presents prior to Christmas, so it was good to get that early Christmas present. How are you doing, Bryan? What's going on, man?
How could I not be doing good, man? We came off a win. We came off a big-time win. You can say what you want. A dub is a dub, right?
Yep.
A dub is a dub.
I'll definitely take the amazing victory. It was not the prettiest. Obviously, we number 2 defense that we're going against, pretty high-powered offense. Even though a lot of people don't want to try to give Minshew that credit, I have to give it to him because obviously people like to jump in the fact, oh, he's a backup quarterback. Well, he was a starter in Jacksonville not too long ago, and he's looking for a starting position as soon as he walks out. So is that the definition of a backup quarterback? Just like, maybe Andy Dalton at that point of his career, he was becoming a backup, but we just happened to get a starter in the backup role. As of Cooper Rush, he's the backup. So I think, the yards that he was putting up kind of, that determines on, is he a type of starter? Yeah, the offense changes a little bit, but hey, man, they kept going. So how much is Jalen Hurts an MVP really for that team? Because to me, our MVP makes a team better, and you took him out of the lineup. Obviously, it's not the same thing because obviously he brings a dynamic of running, which they want their quarterback to do within that offense. But do you see a lot of drop down with Minshew in the offense there?
Something happened here.
What happened?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing our broadcast start again.
Well, because you need to mute on your YouTube.
I did. That's weird. No, well, the music was loud too. Anyway, how is everybody doing? Jack Meeker's in the house. Angelica Barone, I see. Mike Aldana, Glimmerman, Roland, Stacy. I like that.
The mailman has delivered the goods. Can you hear me okay then?
Yeah, okay. We got you good. I had paused it once. Maybe it unpaused. I don't know. Don't worry, people. I'm still in a fog from the last 2 days, but I'm glad we got the dub. What could you say? Everybody, of course, everybody wants to say that, we wouldn't have won if Jalen Hurts would have played. The rules only apply to other people. You know what I mean? I don't think it's really fair, but when it comes to Dallas, we can never get the fair shake. We always got to do it bigger and better than everybody else. Like a win is not necessarily a win in the minds of the public.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to give them. I still want to give them their credit in the sense that it is their backup. I mean, it's not their starter, and it's not the guy they're going to pay money to. So I will give them that. That's something they don't give us, but we're going to give them that in that sense that it will be a little bit different. They're not going to be.
They act like we were 100% though.
Yeah, exactly.
We lost our starting right tackle. Say what you want about Tyron Smith, but he's not a right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have our starting right tackle. We have a few injuries.
Yep.
So
a lot. Yeah. Key injuries. I think a lot of key.
I could go on and on. I'm not going to make rattle them off, but we have some key injuries. Obviously on defense, right? I mean,
yeah. Nice.
So, it is what it is. I knew it was going to be a tough game. I love Weeds in the house. Gina Thorne. I hope she's off today, not driving.
Rolling reviews. I don't know if you say
Cowboy.
Stacey was here. Loyal Cowboy, of course. They're asking, is the mailman delivering the goods?
Listen, I always try and deliver them now.
Angelica Barone is obviously still excited about that 3rd and 30, which I don't blame you, man. Leading up to that little part there with the sack and then the other sack, and then you're just like, even though, in your mind,
crazy game.
Yeah, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, you don't try to chunk it down the field because obviously that's what the defense knows you're going to do. But when you saw that the coverage, Slay, big play Slay does not, just kind of stays in his zone and doesn't, follow the man, which it's understandable with the zone coverage, but at the same time, he needed to follow his man there.
He got a little salty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He got a little salty on Twitter. He was like, if anybody knows the game, all of a sudden,
and if you don't know the
game,
game,
actually worry about if you know the game or not. I can't tell you how many DMs I get and all kinds of rude messages from Eagles fans, and usually I'm nothing but respectful.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, listen,
Our
I
prediction
told you
sucks. I love
this a while back. It all comes down to how healthy you are going into the playoffs and how you're playing.
Yep.
That's it. We had a month to go, and we still got 2 weeks to go. Eagles got to win a division first.
Mm-hmm.
They are in trouble. They
well,
lost.
Mike Aldana is pointing that out. Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
They lost Lane Johnson. Avante Maddox. They said Jordan Davis, but I swear at the end of that game, Jordan Davis was in the game. So
Jordan Davis, he's not a big deal.
Well, I was watching him, and I was seeing Biotish kind of really push him back. So I was like, okay, I was interested. I wanted to see exactly, is he living up to that first round draft, choice? Obviously, I don't know if he's coming off of an injury that he's not at 100%, but either way, I wasn't extremely impressed. I think my takeaway from this is where we were going into this, and I was really thinking that the Eagles' offensive line was really kind of good. Now I'm just realizing they just take a lot of cheap shots most of the time, and it's not as impressive, especially when I'm seeing. I was, more impressed with Mulata at the beginning, but then when I saw him yesterday, just holding and holding and holding and holding, and nothing was being called. It's like that was it. I watched it.
They weren't calling much.
No,
they weren't calling. Which if I had to pick, Phil, I'd rather it be that way than flags all over the field. So, but Lane Johnson, he has a torn abdominal muscle. It's basically what they call a sports hernia type of deal. He's going to need surgery. So I got news for you. They're saying he might come back, just like Hankins, but actually worse than Hankins. If Hankins comes back, he's going to be limited because he has a partially torn pec. I mean, it is what it is. But Lane Johnson, you saw what happened on Monday night early in the year when he was out.
Yeah,
they're lucky he didn't go out earlier. It would not have been close. So, that's a big loss.
Yeah, we don't wish that bad.
I mean, I didn't cause the loss. Yeah. I mean, I didn't cause the injury, but that's what happened. They act like Dak was our only person that was out that game. They forget that we didn't have Tyron Smith against them on Monday night. We didn't have a lot of guys. So
a lot of guys, yeah.
Yeah, and then Avante Maddox has got a serious toe injury. Don't expect him back anytime soon, if at all, which is huge. And there's still 2 more games to play, and they have to play. Mm-hmm. They have to play. They have to play this week. They're all talking about Hurts probably not playing this week.
I mean,
with the Saints,
that
are in a must-win situation.
Yeah, and I agree.
That's sketch, man.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, in this game, there's a lot of things that kind of poked their head out. Even with the, you got good turnovers. I mean, this defense was obviously allowing a lot of plays down the field. But hey, I mean, again, second, third corner. I don't know how repetitive I can become with this, but not having them in, you're gonna have some growing pains within this defense. I saw a little bit better flashes. Obviously, Bland doing his rookie thing, which is not anywhere compared to a rookie thing. Yeah. Like he's doing some amazing stuff right there, and it's nice to see like that piece to go towards the future. But when I was seeing other things, I think when the defense made a play, for example, Curse, let's go, boom, interception. Now we got the ball. What does Kellen Moore do? He flips out some reverse flip back flea flicker type thing.
Yeah. Is everybody in the chat on board with me that I yelled out, "What the f you doing?" So my son was watching the game. I try not to curse, but and it's like, oh my god, a flea flicker. I'm like, well, that's not good. What are they doing?
Yeah.
And shout out to Maddox. He made the play. You can't do that. Stop doing it. How many times? Stop doing it.
Yeah, when I was.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to bring.
Let's get this clown out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me? This is what it's like. Oh, okay, you made a play. Now I got the perfect play for that. And it never goes the way that he wants to. I mean, I don't know if it's one of those things he leaves, the pressure's not as much, and so obviously those plays work, but they just don't work here. It's simple bread and butter, like just meat and potatoes, man. Just stick it on the plate. Don't season that shit. Just give it to me, man. And you're not seeing that from Kellen Moore. And I think like Dak, I mean, once Dak threw that interception and a pick six, which everybody I know I was like, dude, what kind of direct throw was that? Try to go over, but then Dak popped out of it. I think Kellen Moore did it better on the play calling after that stupid play, but I don't know how much more of it's Dak kind of rescuing him. And, of course, CeeDee Lamb doing his thing, the receiving core. As we talk about the receiving core, I think everybody can get very excited about what they did. I'm not saying that they're going forward being the core that to beat. No. But they made plays. They, a third down that we needed a first down. What was that, fourth down? We needed a first down and,
fourth and 7.
Yeah.
With,
the sled, the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a veteran move. He went right into him and kind of made him have to grab him, and so that was a veteran move. So you got to give him credit. Again, the 3rd and 30 thing, I think that was more impressive, just because it was a beautiful throw. Shady McCoy, I don't know what he was saying. Obviously, he's talking about how Dak doesn't throw it down the field. I was interested to see.
Man, it was one of those games where, like I told you. The Eagles, when healthy, I mean, their offensive line. I mean, Lane Johnson hasn't given up a sack in all year. I mean, he's their best offensive lineman. It's tough to get pressure. Minshew is a starter, people. Minshew is a starter, and he has been a starter in this league.
Yeah,
you see some of the starters on some of these NFL teams. I know he's young, but Zach Wilson and the Jets. I mean, there's probably a half a dozen spots that Minshew could start over some of these.
Well, and he's going into free agency not to look for a backup job. That's not. I mean, if you're a backup, that's what you look for. I want to get in a good spot where I can be a backup, maybe possible playing time. No, he wants to get somewhere and become the starter. So it's not the same.
Yeah, and so everyone wants to say, I understand. It was nice not having to deal with the run. It was, but we weren't going to get a pass rush. It wouldn't. I've come to the realization that it had nothing to do with Parsons not being able to get there.
Good lines blocked.
They are 1, 2, 3 getting a ball. 1, 2, 3. There was a couple times where Dallas ran a stunt, and before the stunt could finish, I'm talking just the stunt, they weren't even past the line of scrimmage, and the ball was out. You can't do nothing about that. So you have to realize that, maybe play a little closer, But I just want to say this real quick. Everybody is automatically assuming let's fast forward and we play them again in the championship or the divisional. Knock on wood, we can get there. It's going to be weather. Who do you think has more, especially now with Lane Johnson being out? He may or may be back, but he won't be nowhere near 100%. And there's more injuries on both sides that could still happen. That's going to really rely on a running game or a passing game. I think that favors us, actually. I think a fast indoor track actually favors the Eagles. So, I don't wish injuries on anybody, but they're a part of the game. Mm-hmm. We had no injuries coming out of the game. So that's a great sign. So I'm glad we had no injuries coming out. Mary Alvarez, how you doing, man?
Mary came in, but I was talking about. Let's see, how did you like the play from the tight ends? We had a couple, Dalton Schultz sightings.
I have to highlight it down here.
Yeah,
dude, we need to get the tight ends involved. Run more with more tight ends in the game.
They were blocking really nicely.
Man, they were mauling people. McKeon was blocking his ass off there. They're very athletic and speedy. Did you see Jake Ferguson, our guy? See the move he put?
Yep,
that was big time. I mean, I want to see. Obviously, you're not going to go down in and down and out with all your tight ends, but I really enjoyed seeing them guys in at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see a drop off at all depending on who's in there. Obviously, I have to even give Schultz a little bit more credit.
Hungry, fast tight end.
He's doing better with the blocking game as well. So you have to definitely give him his credit. He's getting involved in that passing game when we need to pass the ball down the field. Usually Schultz is one of those first guys that Dak likes to go to, and that's why nobody minds him being around in the sense that it's Dak's security blanket, and as long as he continues to make the plays when he needs to, it's just like everybody in this offense at some point, a lot of them tend to kind of disappear for a little bit and then they come back, and then, the injury obviously kind of slowed him down, but of course Dak coming back kind of brought his production up, and let's see what they do in the next couple of games.
Let's get to Dak.
Yes, let's talk about Dak, the man of the hour.
What were you thinking after the pick six?
Well, here's the thing.
I was like, you got to be friggin'
I was like, it's gonna be one of these type of games. Like, I didn't turn it. Like, usually I had this feeling about, like, once that happens, like, okay, this is the momentum I was gonna go. I didn't really feel that at all. I felt like
I didn't feel it either, but I didn't like it.
No, nobody likes it.
I'm like, here we go.
Well, the thing about Dak is that
10.
sometimes he does this towards the end of the game, and so then he does better after the pick.
But you know what hurt?
What's that?
Yeah, and you're right, Phil. Like, normally it's when, like, we have to have something. Dude, who was it? Dalton Schultz? He was wide open. Wide open. If he could just loft the ball. He could just put some air under it if he had to, instead of being so cute.
Yes.
He was I think it was Dalton. I'm not sure exactly.
It was Schultz. I know exactly what you're talking about. I looked down the field and it was Schultz right there. I was like, Schultz was. He had somebody trailing him.
Nobody. He was running for 30 yards.
Yeah, he was trailing, and then there was another receiver and corner down the field. But he had it. He had the opening. It was
a perfect call.
It was.
I hate to say it, but I called Josh Sweat. I said, that's the main guy. Him and Reddick. But I had a feeling Reddick, who ended up having a play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But Josh Sweat, I had a feeling that would be a good matchup for them. But shout out to Dak. What he did, for the rest of the game was MVP like. I'm sorry. He was dotting the I's, crossing T's. He was throwing the ball on the rope, making all the right decisions. He's running. Remember I said he's going to have to run in every game going down because our running wasn't good if you don't include Dak.
Yeah,
but when you include Dak, then it was more than good enough.
Yeah. And Mary Alvarez says
the hardest team to run the ball against.
Yeah, Mary Alvarez says, I want to see this Dak in the playoffs, but except the interception, of course.
Yeah, exactly, Mary.
And Gene is right.
Exactly, but I think he's going to have to run the ball. He had 40 yards rushing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying
it was that threat.
He's got to be able to tuck it and go.
Yes, it was that threat of it that kept people honest. That's probably, again, I'm not saying Slay thought he was going to run 30 yards or, he had to protect a shallower route, but I'm pretty sure at some point that becomes a factor. I mean, it's you can't say that, an offense having that triple threat. Obviously, you got your running backs, your reverses that you can have, and then you got a quarterback that can run as well too. I know that's not on the top of his list, but it's nice that he's getting a little bit more relaxed and trying to push the ball down the field. He's not afraid to kind of give it that pump fake and go. So what did you think? Anyway, you kind of chimed on this, and I'll jump on and piggyback on it a little bit. What did you think about Zeke and Tony? Do you think it was more on them? Do you think it was the offensive line not blocking?
No, it was not. No, like I said, that's why we had to throw so much and shot. It was more impressive what Dak did. Our offensive line, like McGovern, didn't have a great game. That's a tough defensive line. They're huge. They're mauling. They're fast. Everything you want to say. They didn't have a great night. But we couldn't really run the ball too effective. But that's what made the whole Dak thing because they were committing a lot and they were playing zones. So, Dak carved them up, man. I don't have a problem. Kellen, identifies that.
Kellen,
hits it. Now, if you do remember down I think it was at the goal line, they brought Jason Peters in for one play. He played tight end. Zeke walked into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when the tight end. I mean, so that's what I had been talking about before. It was very impressive, very very impressive. But yeah, I mean, running the ball was tough, but we got the tough yardage when we needed it. We didn't back down. I mean, that's a tough team. And
it is.
We beat them. So
yeah,
stick it.
There was a couple of things that I saw that came up. And we were talking about the running game, talking about the passing game, scoring down the field, getting to it. I think one thing that you never really think that's going to come into effect, but I think it comes into effect once a year, is the sunlight coming through the dome, coming through the lights.
Well, that's that early game.
It's and so you're just like, can we use some of that $295 million to get some curtains or some tinted windows in there.
Like Angelica said, hey, Angelica, that was a perfect pass to Michael Gallup. That was perfect. That was a touchdown.
Yeah, it was
he
just...
still should have called it. Maybe he should wear a visor or something, but you know,
I thought
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was. It was a great ball. It was a great ball into the hands. I didn't know he had lost it really until they showed the replay. I was like, oh yeah, that's like the one spot in that whole thing that it's actually showing is right there. It's like, so yeah, can we get an upgrade on there?
I'm watching the play now, where Dak scrambles and hits Gallup. That was impressive.
It was, and I love that fact that like Gallup has the ability to kind of just, he knows where he is on the field. He can get both feet in bounds, whether he's 5 yards away from it or whether he's like half a yard within the vicinity of catching. I like that whole dynamic that he brings. Again, something that some of our other guys don't bring. And that's why you like an addition like T.Y. Hilton, brings some speed, a threat down the field, something that we would have been trying to just, with Pitchfork saying, hey, man, we want Turpin to be that guy that does that. I guess, as long as they're doing it, whoever, put in, miscellaneous wide receiver here and then just have them streak. Whatever, just do it. I think that's what we just want the threat. We want the safeties to have to worry about that possibility. And kind of keep them honest. That'll open up the field as well too. So, again, I know I'm jumping backwards, but I think we had to go back to that 3rd and 30. I mean, it meant so much. I saw him in there prior, and I was like, "Oh, this would be really cool."
That was beautiful.
There was a lot of people that still didn't know that he had signed with the Cowboys. I think that was a big surprise. Like, is that T.Y.?
That was a perfect pass. I mean, you gotta understand when there's a zone. When they're like teams playing zone, like Slay, I mean, he could say, "Oh, you want that was safety." He still gave too much room behind him, So, he needs to drop back, drop a little deeper. The safety should have been deeper as well, but that was a perfect pass. That actually, there's not much Eagles could have done about it. Like T.Y. said, Slay was up in his face, not giving him any respect. And T.Y. even said to Slay, you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to run right by you. Darn it if he didn't run right by Slay. And hell of a pass, though. There was an angle I saw an angle from the end zone.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
And it was just friggin' perfect. I mean, there's not much they could have done other than the safety coming behind, and then you risk having a penalty. So
can I get a little negative on this? Where is the pass interference call? Like, where was that? Like, I mean, that safety gets there prior to that pass getting there, and there is nothing called. Yeah. It's like, okay, was they just kind of doing if he catches it, we won't call it? I mean, I got, that's the part of it, like, even though I was celebrating, like, it was an amazing throw and catch, I was still really, what the heck are these refs doing? And again, we're jumping on your side where they weren't calling a whole lot of plays. I just really wanted it to be more, if you're going to call one side, call the other, But, yeah, you're right. I'd rather it be on, let's not call every single play penalty and let these guys play.
Yeah, the word around here was the J-Ron Curse interception was pass interference. And, that's just the reach. You're entitled to make a play on the ball.
Well,
so
I mean,
he kind of
what is that
right shoulder.
Well, where's that receiver doing?
He didn't go through him.
Yeah, where's that receiver doing? I mean, he wasn't jumping for the ball. He kind of looked like he was
just
falling down.
Softly sitting there instead of going to get the ball.
And he went to the side, and he did kind of a little bit over him inside. But I mean, it wasn't like it was kind of close. I mean, so I can understand their argument there, but at the same time, I mean, I thought
I like a game that's called without that much penalty. I mean, I do. The one penalty that I was not happy with, man, I don't know why they even bother, was the kick return. I was so excited when I saw Turpin, and he tripped himself up again. His legs moved way too fast, but he got the ball all the way to midfield, and there was a penalty. And they ended up starting all the way back at the 10-yard line. They got to get their act together on special teams. I mean, that's a weapon, but if you can't stop from holding somebody, then it really means nothing.
We got Mark Holmes in the house. I want to congratulate Mark on his 50,000 subscribers. Great job, Mark, man. Good job.
50,000 subscribers.
Yeah, one day.
Unbelievable.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I think we got 49,400 shy of that.
Yeah, we're getting
there.
there. We're getting there. Yeah,
Good job, Mark.
Jack Meteor says they were not calling anything the game. Schultz got tackled in the end zone and it wasn't called. Yeah, and I saw that all over the place. There were some points where I saw it, I kind of jumped up and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, but again, it's as long as they're doing it on both sides, I think you can get along with that. I think that's how playoff football should be. I mean, yeah, you're going to get to argue, each side's going to have their arguments of what should have been called, and and it's always amazing how you can slap a jersey color on somebody and then your bias kind of changes a little bit of what you see the play. I know there were some people that thought somehow Smith got the touchdown in the back of the end zone and Wright somehow like interfered with him. Like, he wasn't getting that. Guy's like barely 5'9". I don't know what he is, but he's not coming back down with that in the end zone. So it was just funny.
I thought, well, you said right. I want to give a shout out to our Nashon Wright. I thought he did well in his second game. I really like that kid. He's for a kid who has been inactive for most of the weeks, and then he does play special teams. He's played a special teams a couple games, but I really like that kid. He's the kind of guy you want on the team, and I think it's good to give him a little more. He may end up being something. You never know. Look at Bland, man. Bland, diamond in the rough. That kid, man. I'm so proud of that kid. He's got 5 INTs, second in the league on single coverage. I think
that's a short memory. I like that.
Yeah, like when they just do single coverage and he's the only buddy on the receiver. That's where he has all 5 of his INTs on that type of coverage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. So
yeah, Alton Lowe says playoffs is near and we need the defense to get back to form. And I think a lot of that's going to come obviously with a lot of the injuries. And you can only get to 100%. You can get close. You can't get all the way there. You still got, whether everybody argues Anthony Brown is worth anything, he still was our number 1 or 2 corner. Number 3 corner, Jordan Lewis. We're not missing him as much because obviously Bland is balling out right now. But, I did see Mackenzie Alexander in there, number 36, kind of, mixed in there with him. It wasn't terrible. Yeah. It wasn't terrible. There was some stuff. But, I mean, again, like you said, there's some guys that are just getting into it and they came up with 4 turnovers. I mean, they were still our key guys that were making these turnovers, but I'm kind of jumping back and forth because
new names in here.
Henry Williams,
new names. Yeah, Henry Williams, great show, fellas. How about them Cowboys? The refs don't screw us. Yeah, I mean, I get you, man. Papa Peach's son, that was a pass interference, and why wouldn't they have called it ever? The Colts. Yeah, when he did it to Gallup. I agree. But like I was telling Phil, I'd rather it be a little rough on both sides and not call it. I think that's the worst call in the game is when you got to hope and pray that you get a first down. I mean, that 4th and 7 was huge, but unfortunately, that was a penalty. Not unfortunately. Yeah, fortunately for us, I'm sorry, Eagles, that was a blatant penalty, especially on 4th down. The refs are not going to let that slide. That was a great move. It'll be interesting to see if they start incorporating T.Y. Hilton.
No, I
think
like
he has to be.
He's been smiling since he's got here.
And I think you got to bring Noah Brown in less. Because Noah Brown, I understand why. But, he needs to drop it down a little bit and let the T.Y. T.Y. can take the top off of defense. Can't double them both. It's, shout out to CeeDee Lamb. He was a man amongst boys again yesterday. So you need that second guy with speed. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Alton
I'm reading some of this.
Wallace, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
As much as some of the Cowboy fans don't like LVE, but in the real, we need him for the playoffs, and that is correct. I mean, LVE's been playing really well this year. So I've liked him coming back. Obviously getting that second wind of his career. So it's good. Yeah. And, he flourishes in Dan Quinn's system, and it's nice to, as much as I really like Jalen Smith, it's nice to not have him there because I think LV's kind of matured a little bit more with not having Jalen there as well, even though he was kind of really hurt in the beginning. But he's definitely stepped up in that locker room and helped the other guys. I mean, you got Damone Clark fitting in there. Where we were talking about how Damone Clark was going to be in the beginning of the year. I mean, look where he's at. He's playing most of the game all the time. He's in there all the time. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you got Michael Dunn saying Nate Newton
Sam Williams is back. Yes, he is.
Yes.
Sam Williams is definitely back. I'm glad he's okay with that
injury. The
car
wreck, yeah.
Right where I was in June. That's a very congested area. I hadn't been to a Plano in years, and we went there in June. And my God, it's congested there. So supposedly it was not his fault. He had the accident. So I'm glad he's okay. Hey, Jeff Karen, welcome to the show, buddy.
So Michael Donna says Nate Newton restated. Micah needs to contain Minshew instead of using the inside stunt, wasting reps. And it's true. I think a lot of the stunts have been kind of, even though they're amazing and they've been a positive thing, it hurts us so much in the running game. And then as Michael Dana is talking about how Minshew can scramble outside for 7, 8 yards. That's what helped Hurts do his thing, and he, that's the guy that can hurt us a lot more than what Minshew can. So I mean, Minshew has that ability. That doesn't mean he's running all the time, but I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. That's those stunts. Those were definitely killing us, and kind of calming that down has helped us kind of control the run a little bit more. Man says Lamb was a beast, and that is the truth, man. How many yards did Lamb have?
I'm really glad that he's stepping up. I mean,
talking about that number one.
I'm hoping they can get a deal done this offseason with him, with a year left on his contract. That gives you a little wiggle room. He messed with the money a little bit, but you got to pay him. He's here to stay.
Yeah, there's a couple of people.
He's a legit 88. He ain't no Antonio Bryan.
Yeah. Yes. Ruben Wall says, "Hey, what's up, Primetime and GameTime? What's up, Ruben? Welcome, Jeff."
Ruben Walls, shout out, buddy. How you doing?
He's on his first year of his rookie contract. It's all good, bro. We have about 4 years. He's talking about Bland.
He's talking about
Bland.
He's got 4 years. He has 3 years.
3 years left. Yeah, counting to this year before. So, because obviously, I think the first round gets the 5th-year option only. After that, second or so.
It's only the first round draft picks. That's why you'll see teams draft. Usually not to get too deep into the draft, people, but this is a good time to talk about it since we're talking about 5th-year options. Normally on an average draft, there's only about 15 first-round rated players. So let's say you're picking 22. Well, you're basically drafting who you have graded as a second-round person. But you got to decide, is it worth for you to take him then, because you get that extra year because you drafted him in the first round.
Yeah. So, you got Alton Lois says, let's give Hilton a little bit more reps before we get excited about him getting more involved. It's true. Hey, he's definitely made an impact, and I definitely understand what you're saying. I think you got to continue what you're doing outside of him, just because, again, we don't know how long we're going to have T.Y. Hilton. He is a guy that has injury, stuff, history of injuries, and obviously having that whole off season, not having to play within the season, that'll keep him fresh for later on in the season. So I think you're at a good position, but you're right, man. It's like the more you get him involved, the more that possibility of something's going to happen, because he does have a soft tissue thing.
He needs to be involved more. I don't see. I mean, obviously you're going to have Gallup and you're going to have CD. I'm thinking if you're going 3, you need to bring T.Y. in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
you have to.
I do like it. I mean,
that's what I would do.
But not having him as
you're going 4, then you bring in the other guy. You're gonna sub these guys based on the routes that they run. You know what I mean? And if they need a breath, if T.Y. is running 2-9 routes, he's gonna go to the sideline. There's gonna be plenty of plays. So for everybody. So I would just like to see him in more.
So as we're going through this chat,
I agree, Jack Meeker. Yeah, we need to sign Turnstile.
Popeye Peach son says, I think Hankins will be key if we run into Philly again in the playoffs to hold off Jalen. And just in general, yes. Even though we got him late, he's definitely somebody that we miss. It kind of helped us. It didn't obviously, fix every single thing, but it definitely helped this defense, not give up all those big, huge gashes.
Yeah. What's impressive about Hankins is he takes up. He's basically a two-gap guy. He takes up two guys, and it really what it does is it helps your linebackers. It helps your linebackers flow to the ball a lot easier. I would let him. He's got that partially torn pec. That's not a good injury. I wouldn't use him. I probably wouldn't use him in the first round. Assuming that we're playing, the South, which if we play in the first round, I would imagine that's who we would maybe not use him there, and hopefully get the job done and use him going into whether it's Philly or whoever.
It's not a bad strategy. I like that.
Yeah.
No, and then, okay, we're jumping on I Love Weeds comments saying the Unicorn, 1 target in 2 games. What the fuck? Like, are we talking about James Washington? Is that the Unicorn?
Mark is, I have to give Mark credit here. He was the one that was, didn't really care for him. He needs to get open. He don't get a lot of opportunity, but either did T.Y. Hilton. Yet he made the most of his opportunities. You need to make the most of your opportunities. I don't know what they're calling for the guy, so kind of hard for me to rip him. But he needs to shine.
My God, Michael Dano with the greatest comment ever. We should have drafted Vita Vea a few years back. Trust me, I was definitely jumping on that train when we were there. I think, but he was an early.
Now, who did we end up taking in that draft?
I thought we picked way
later.
I
don't remember. Do you remember, Mike? Yeah, I forget what year that was.
But I do remember.
I want to say we went with the
Taco.
yeah, I forget.
He's a yellow dot. Yeah, I know. I don't know why. It's like they don't want to show your face. He's just a yellow dot. They're like they don't want to give you the this.
No, I see his face.
I don't see it. No. Like if I look on I look on the broadcast and it comes up, it doesn't. It doesn't come up with his face.
Oh, I got you.
It's like don't like.
Yeah,
I see no,
Mike
you don't.
With an M, right? Okay.
No drug dealer.
Yeah, you're a yellow face. There you are. It's the popo. Popo shutting you down.
But no, a very good game overall. Obviously, it's cut this off, and you're gonna hear all the excuses coming from them. Obviously, they do have some things to their credit. The safety, the great safety was gone. You got Lane Johnson that obviously has gone down later on. Hurts not being in the game. There are definitely some guys there, but it wasn't like they didn't have star receivers, tight ends, stuff like that happening in this game. So they weren't without every single weapon. And Bryan definitely hits the nail on the head when he says we have our own guys as well that were injured. So going forward, we can't look at that. Everything now is the slate is wiped clean. Will we face them again? That's going to be a big question. But right now, the next opponent is obviously going to be Tennessee. Tennessee might not be playing with 100% just because they're going to be wanting to go into the next game to determine whether they're going to make it or not. So you may see some of those guys resting. So there's going to be a lot of things to talk about with this Tennessee matchup. Again, a Thursday night football game is the last Thursday night football game of the season, I believe. And so I think the Dallas Cowboys
do that. It's the last one. We're wearing our all whites too, like I thought we were going to do on Thanksgiving. We're wearing the white color rush with the white helmet, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, and Glimmerman says honestly, the 3rd and 30, Dak just put the ball up. What a great place pass and what a catch. It was it was a ballsy thing. That's what I'm not used to as well. Like when you see that, they don't normally go for that. That's where you see, okay, they're going to give up play. We're going to go ahead and toss the screen. And but yeah, you're right. The concentration was there. He definitely brought it in. I was definitely shocked a little bit. He kind of tossed it like, there's times where Dak, you'll see him, he'll get a guy to jump off sides, and then you just see the ball just sling. He has a confidence. He feels it because he doesn't have that fear of having the turnover. And so then you'll see those passes a little bit better. And that's what that felt. It felt like it was one of those, he caught somebody off sides and he just launched it. And it was a great route. Because, I mean, he still had to kind of come back a little bit inside to come for that ball. So, I mean, for them not to get a lot of playing time for the timing, I think there's a lot of things to that play that you're not going to have all that practice time to be able to get the timing right. So the fact that you were able to pull it out in a game, that was very impressive.
Yeah. Like I love Weed saying, we better not take the Titans. It's an easy win.
And that's true. He is true. They got a running game that's very capable.
Derrick Henry did not practice today. He's questionable. We don't have to face Derrick Henry now. We will be facing Malik Willis, which is another running quarterback.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. That'll add a wrinkle. I kind of wish we were seeing Tannehill, but
Yeah. No, it's understandable.
We're actually a 6.5 point. Is it a 6.5? We're actually 9.5 on the road. That's a lot.
So Jack Meeker says
minus
they're wearing
9.5.
Are they wearing the new helmets for that?
What's that? Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So the color rush ones. Okay, so that's awesome. They did wear that one on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, well, they wore the helmet on Thanksgiving, but they wore their blue.
Okay.
Like the old school blue.
Yeah.
I want to hear everybody's stars up. I don't have that. The only star down I had was basically the offensive line didn't have a great game, but I kind of figured that against that team. But that's about it. I thought everybody did well. Outside of the first pick six, Dak had an incredible game.
Yeah, I would definitely have given
Dak had a great game.
CD,
Ty. I put the tight ends. They all had, without our tight end play and how they blocked and got open down the field.
So Mike says
obviously it's Ron Bland and J-Ron Curse. I mean, if anybody else has somebody, I mean, those guys that I named all balled out.
We'll jump back onto that right there, but I just wanted to point out that Michael Danis said that in that draft of Vita Veda, that's the year that we drafted LVE. So,
okay,
Vita Veda would have been earlier in the draft.
Yeah, I would rather have had Vita Vea, even though he did miss a year. But,
yeah, still, I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, you would definitely take him. Even it's guy like that Jalen, you kind of take him.
James Nooks as Pollard too. Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah.
He's such a threat, man.
He is. You get the ball in his hand. He got some key first downs. I did like that. I mean, you get the ball in his hands. He makes a move very quickly, makes the first guy miss. Yeah, so I was definitely thinking about it. There was a couple of plays that he had, and I was like, oh, man, I'm interested to see what happens this offseason. I know going into this year, I was just like, yeah, man, don't dime a dozen with Tony Pollard. Just kind of let him walk, and you find another running back.
Those two guys are perfect for each other.
Nah, I don't have that same tune. Yeah. No, I don't have that same tune in the sense of wanting to let Pollard walk. I'd rather keep him now and get that. We got a nice piece there. We got Zeke there. Let's kind of try to take some of Zeke money, give it to Tony. I don't know how we're gonna do all this. Get him in a room, kind of make it very uncomfortable. But yeah, I mean, James Smith says T.Y. Hilton, J-Ron Curse, Anthony Barr. Actually, yeah, I have to give Anthony Barr a couple credit. He dropped that interception.
Anthony Barr, that's a good one.
That was a good one.
Everybody was talking about we only got 4 takeaways. We should have had 5 because that was a gimme interception by Anthony Barr. Dude, that was right in his chest, and it wasn't even that hard of a throw. Man, that would have been huge.
That was. I saw it. Every time he's like,
we lead the league in takeaways, so.
So I think that's one thing when you're focusing, you're talking about the ups and downs, you're talking about the O-line. I mean, Dak was, sacked 5-6 times? Maybe one of those were his, where he just kind of held on. I mean, obviously, I don't know what the alternative would have been if he would have launched it. There was that stuff, if I'm going to go negative on Dak other than that interception one, there was a point, I think it was right before the no. Right at that last, we got the turnover. I want to say Bland gets the turnover on this first one. And there's like 3.5 minutes or so on the clock. It's not the best clock management. I mean, you had the ability to kind of try to run out the clock and try to make it. Dak rolls out, kind of runs out of bounds with 2:01.
I was telling my son, man. Yeah, when he went out of bounds, that better not come back to haunt us. That was a big deal. Now,
That was.
his internal clock, like last year in the playoff, when he ran just a couple of yards too far and that it didn't give him enough time to spike the ball, he has to be smarter than that. I'm not going to hammer Dak. He had a great game. But, man, that almost, with a team that was going up and down the field on us, I mean, they were, you know, and we made plays. Thank God we made plays when we did. We took the ball away. We didn't just sit back and the ball came to us. We took the ball away.
Well, and then continue. I think that next
rough,
play,
man. That was rough.
That next play with Dak, you know, obviously I think they talked to him. Hey, you know, make sure you can get down and da da da. He goes and he's about to get sacked, and he just jumps to the ground. And this is the 2-1. There's only 1 second by this point. Throw it out the back of the end zone, dude. Like, there was just that situational not understanding where you were at, how much you needed to run. If you're going to throw it, or it was already going to be a timeout with a 2-minute warning, just throw it through the back of the end zone. There was a lot of questionable stuff there, and then you gave the ball back to them because of these questionable stuff. So I was kind of disappointed within that clock management at the end, because your defense needed to make another turnover, and then what did you do? You just kind of like sputtered and then just gave the ball right back to them. It's just you can't have that. You're talking about this offense needing to put teams away. This was the perfect opportunity. Let's kick a field goal. I mean, I again, you're getting points out of the drive. You can't fault that. Money Maher doing his thing. You got to give him another star right there. But that really bothered me.
Talking about Pollard, he was on injury report.
Was he?
Popeye Peach son. I don't know. I mean, can anybody tell me what the injury was? Was it just? I mean, did they just say limited? He's probably limited because it's a short week. Do
you see Denver had fired their coach?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Dan's gone.
You think, or Sean Payton? I mean, Sean Payton could be over there, so that might be something. You know, they're stuck with Russell Wilson. They don't have any draft picks.
There, he was just there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. Russell Wilson, that whole thing, him not being able to complete these passes. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of factors there. I don't think should have been solely on the actual Denver Broncos head coach. I mean, you're not even giving him a whole season to get this thing turned around. I mean, it's just, to me, a little bit premature. But but I think there are some candidates there.
This is how I would play it if I was Dallas. I don't think you could stop him from taking an interview, but you've already interviewed him, okay? Literally less than a year ago. So, if you know you're hiring him, you should wait. But I guess you can let him talk to him. But
Dan
Quinn's going to be gone. I saw a tweet today where they had a picture of Kellen Moore in a Denver hat and said, You got your new coach. Good. I assure you, they're not taking Kellen.
Jack Meeker says they need a quarterback whisperer, so hopefully not Dan Quinn. Yeah, that's definitely not Kellen Moore either.
Yeah. Well, just think about it, though. I mean, Dan Quinn has a lot of ties there. Mm-hmm. That's one of his places he wants to coach. He knows Russell Wilson well. He thinks he's not washed. He's got a number 3 rated defense before yesterday's game, mind you. They played yesterday. Yeah, before they got smoked 51-14, whatever that was. I didn't watch any of that game, but Randy Gregory. Did you see he got suspended for a game?
I did see that at the very end of that play. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, this one just keeps coming back. Like, he keeps looking more and more positive for the Cowboys. I mean, he keeps adding to that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I was watching the altercation. Like, I think, didn't he do that before with us as well too? Where he got an altercation with somebody after the game. So I mean, you like the attitude, but obviously, you had our guys.
Well,
what was it? When Mike
didn't like the contract offer, and you said F Dallas. That's what happened this past year. And all due respect, Randy, Lawrence Armstrong is doing everything you've done. He is. He's been a model citizen, awesome team guy, and is putting up better numbers than you ever put up. So,
true.
He's been banged up, so he may not catch a sack total. I think from Randy's last year, but average, he's doing just fine. So
Yeah, I'm
but
liking.
yeah, unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. But I saw where teams are going to have to give New Orleans 2 number ones and like a number 2. Are you freaking kidding me for a coach? That's nuts. He ain't coming to Dallas. I'm telling you, he ain't coming to Dallas. Dallas ain't giving up their, Dallas isn't giving up the draft from to him either. That's another thing. He wants full control.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
I don't know that I would like it or not, but
I mean, not with what Will McClay does. I mean, he's amazing. It's like that's the one thing I think that keeps saving this team is that
we just
the young.
can't let Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
we
totally
just can't
understand.
let Dan Quinn take all of his assistants.
Yes.
We're gonna have to elevate one of them to D coordinator, but
I still
head
like
coach,
him
he could
here.
bring
I still think that he has something. I don't know. I'm again. We keep coming back to this whole. I mean, I hear in the last year or whatever where he's talking about he's happy with the defense coordinator. This is where he wants to be. It's hard for me to feel like a year goes by and then there's a whole. Hey, well, you know what? I rethought my career. It's just like, that's just very quick thinking. And if you're coming out to the media and letting them know this every single time that you have a different thought, it's probably not something I want around anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking about Randy Gregory.
Randy,
he's getting kind of bashed. I mean, he was a playmaker. He was a flash guy, but he also was very undisciplined. Very undisciplined at the worst times. It's like he would fall for that. He would jump or line up in the neutral zone more than anybody I've ever seen. That's the one thing about Dorrance Armstrong. He may not be the fastest guy or be the flashiest guy. He is just an all-around good ball player. He's sound. He's a sound football player. He doesn't make these stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we went with the direction. And like Mark said, we all hammered him for it. We wanted the big splash. The only thing I wish they would have done is maybe added another D tackle. I mean, those 2 guys in Philly are doing great. At least get one of those, like a Linval Joseph. He was sitting on his couch. I mean, that would have been nice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dominic and Sue, I've never been a fan of. He's a dirty ball player, but you need those guys too. So
yeah, I was about to say
the fact that the Eagles went out and got both of them.
Yeah, you gotta give them credit that.
But we beat them, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, I know I'm happy again. We get this 24-hour rule, and I guess it's already been 24 hours since Saturday, but I'm going 24 hours since the Sunday, this NFL Sunday rule, so I get to enjoy it a little bit more. Is there a Monday Night Football game tonight? I didn't even notice that.
Yes, there is. Yes.
Let me take a look here.
Yes, there is. It's the Colts, right? I think it's the Colts game.
Yeah. Who comes up with a schedule?
Yeah, it's ridiculous is what it is.
Trying to come up, it's thinking about it. Who the Colts play, do you know? All right, so it looks like...
Yeah, the Chargers. Yeah,
Okay.
They play the Chargers.
So, yeah, the Chargers are in that situation where they need to win as well to stay in that whole playoff race.
If I was Dan Quinn, I would go to San Diego, like if possible.
They got
If
a lot of
I was
pieces.
Sean Payton, I would go to San Diego.
Nice, thank you, guys.
That coach is ruining that team. That coach is killing that team. Horrible coach in San Diego. I thought he was going to be good, but
because that's a really
not
good
at all.
roster when you
they
look
got
at the
way
roster.
too much talent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they got way too much talent.
Yeah, and I would have to agree there. I mean,
Bolts and bolts.
Yep, and that's going to be an interesting game. I again, we'll go over here in the next couple of days.
George
What was it,
Edwards,
Wednesday?
that's it. Yeah,
Wednesday.
George Edwards.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans, a matchup, of course. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of news in the sense of who's playing, who's not.
Yeah, when are we
still
doing
means
that,
something.
Phil? Are we doing that on Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday we're going to go on.
Wednesday night, people.
So Wednesday, try to mark
Tell one, tell all.
But anything you want to talk about with this game before we put it behind us and we look to the next game? Anything you want to bring up?
Listen, anytime we can beat the Eagles is a good day in my world. I knew that we would, if we would have won, that it would have been like we played the backup. It's always something. I mean, I saw Kyle Brandt this morning, and he's acting like Dallas fans are hounding him. Like, what do you want from me? You're the same team that chokes every year in the playoffs. That's what he actually said. What we want from you, Kyle Brandt, is to not, just lump us into that every year. That's not fair. But
yeah, you talk about teams being different.
Well,
yeah. Well, why don't they say that stuff with Detroit? Why don't they say that stuff about Cleveland? Why, when these teams all of a sudden make a splash, why is he jumping on their bandwagon? Why? Oh, they've been around longer in history? No, man, this team is different. Guess what? This team, back-to-back 11...
He came out saying that Dak's game was one of the best he's played. So, but he also married a girl from Philly. So, that's why he hates Dallas. He's got to listen to his wife, probably.
So, I mean, when I look at this team, I look at the fact that this team is going to playoffs back-to-back in the sense of, 11-win, seasons. That's something we haven't done in a long time as well, too. Obviously, we're not back-to-back division champs at the moment. Yeah, that could change. We don't know what trajectory every team is going. I didn't think we would, but you got to say that there's always that possibility. I think there is. Now, it would be amazing to see that kind of a downfall. But at the same time, I'm not hanging my hat. You just, as a Cowboys, you got to go in and just, beat the teams that are in front of you. I think this has been a thing that we've been talking about since halfway through the season. All you can do is beat the teams in front of you and see if other teams kind of struggle there as well, too. I think you saw it with Green Bay here, where every team lost to help Green Bay kind of advance a little bit.
Green Bay still has a shot.
And they still have a shot.
Believe that.
As dumb as those games were, they're terrible. The Buccaneers game, oh my God. But again, you have to know in the back of your head, they're always a threat. Any of those teams that go into the playoffs is always a threat. But I agree with you, man. Let's just keep the wins going, keep the formula going. That is very right. Michael Dana, we're in the playoffs, but we need to make some noise.
I want to see the Eagles have to play the last week. Because it's easy to say, but if they, the Saints have something to play for this week. It's not going to be a walk in the park without Lane Johnson. That Saints defense is no joke. I think the Eagles will get it done this week, but if they don't, that's big to make, because then they're going to have to play. I mean, what are they going to try and do? Go again? But the Giants are still in it. Giants need both games. Giants have the Colts this week at home.
Well, Minnesota's still as well, too. I mean, they're trying to get to the number one seed as well, too. So they have that competition sniffing right behind them.
I'm liking how this is playing out. Even if we end up in the 5th seed, I'm liking the fact that these teams have to keep playing, which means they got to keep subjecting their players to possible getting hurt. You see, it's hitting us. It's hitting now. It's hitting the Eagles in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
We'll see who looks what going into the playoffs. We know we're in, right? We just don't know who we're playing.
Exactly.
Stay tuned on that.
James Nook says, unfortunately, the Saints have Andy Dalton, so that's always the...
Yeah. Come on, man, the red rifle.
But anyways, yes, man, I'm very, very happy about this game. I know I'm excited that we were able to pull it off. It changed my whole mood. My mood would have been different today, would have been different yesterday. So, I checked Twitter a little bit more. Yesterday would not have been fun. No, it would not have been. It was kind of just
because I had people came over that were
humbug. You got people because they love it. You got 31. I know I saw somebody on Twitter. There was
very respectful, but I'm just saying
there was some nasty.
Got a couple digs, in between.
Well, we all know about the nasty Eagle fans that were making their comments. I mean, we were getting them from even San Francisco fans. I'm like, what are you even involved in this fight? You don't even have a dog in this fight, and you're jumping in and you're like the little hype man. It was a San Francisco fan, all Cowboy fans are acting like they, and they show the Mavericks winning some kind of championship.
Like they won something. Right?
And it's like, that is not how we're acting. We're just, a little eye for an eye kind of thing. You beat our backup, we beat your backups, okay? So let's go forward, but don't give us that whole thing. It didn't mean anything when you guys were talking, this is Dallas week, and we're going to have to whoop them, and we're going to show them. So don't talk all that and then turn around and say none of that. Again, we came back the next following week, and we swallowed crow, and we knew that, hey, there was a chance that we were going to lose that game, and we did. But even though we came close, it gave us hopes. Again, I look at this game where we put a number 2 defense that was, they're missing some pieces here, there, but not as much as our defense was definitely missing some pieces. But Dak was able to move that ball, get some yards going. The first 300-yard game that Dak throws, boom, against the Philly defense. So Hey, they were chiming in every
Yes.
single week. Well, Dak hasn't even thrown a 300-yard game. Well, there you go on a silver platter.
I just never seen anything like it, Phil. I've
In
never
what way?
seen anything like it because then, as the game is going on, because I feel obligated to go on at least like address some of the stuff on Twitter. And it's like, oh well, Avante Maddox is out. That's why you're moving the ball. Oh well, this guy's out. That's football, people. You don't see us.
When
saying
Anthony
every time
Brown,
we
Jordan
somebody,
lose,
'cause there was a month there was 4 games in a row where we lost guys every game. Just remember, we don't have our number 2 or our number 3 corner. We don't have our starting right tackle, and look, we don't have our starting inside linebacker. Yeah, we don't have our starting nose tackle or our best nose tackle.
Well, and it's true. It probably is our starting one, honestly.
I mean, come on, man, that's football.
Yep.
That's football.
And right now we're seeing our defense kind of struggle with trying to find guys to plug in these holes. We're taking safeties. We're sticking them over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, you saw a lot of plays.
5 games without our starting quarterback. You've had to play 1. You've already got 1 loss.
Yeah. So
let's say you had to play 4 more without him. Okay, I think that the division might be a little closer. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. But again, like I said,
part of the game.
I was very impressed. I think we go back in the beginning of the season, very impressed with Cooper Rush and what he was able to do with a defense that was able to keep a game. Does Cooper Rush win that game yesterday? No, man. It's the defense was keeping him into those games, and he took advantage of it, and I love it. We just need to hopefully get some people back from injuries so we can give Dak in this offense a defense that can, keep the score a little bit down where we maybe have to score 20 points to win a game and not 40 points, So what's crazy?
Yes, it was. But we got the dub. We've moved to Thursday. This is good. If we can get through Thursday with a win and healthy, then we got a little bit extra time going into that last week. And then we could go from there. If the Eagles win it, like if the Eagles win this week, then I would say playing a lot of the. Obviously, you'll see Cooper Rush the following week, but let's see. Maybe Eagles choke it up or spit the bit this week, and then you never
kind of forces them to play Jalen and stuff like that.
Last week.
Because Michael Dana says, how bad will Jalen Hurts' absence mean for the Eagles going forward? I mean, it depends on how long. I mean, is he going to miss a playoff game?
Huge.
That's huge. Especially
he'll be in a playoff game, but he won't be 100%. He won't be 100%.
Yeah.
Probably, for the rest because it's cold, people, and you take these hit in the cold and you have
back up.
Severely sprained AC joint. Yeah, come on.
That's where the home field advantage takes. It comes back to haunt your butt, especially when you don't have a dome and stuff like that. But yeah, we have gone over an hour. We're talking about this amazing victory. I'm happy. You're happy. Merry Christmas. Merry late Christmas. Oh,
of course, I'm happy.
And the next one is going to be a New Year's Eve special here, since we're not going to be there for the. Let's see. Well, we have the Friday. Let's see. Friday we'll have a after the game.
Yeah, we'll do the. Well, maybe you could work.
We'll do something. I'll probably do something with.
Throw up the New Year's. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I say we.
Yeah, we all know. We all know. No, don't worry. But yes.
We all. Yeah.
So anyways,
my looks.
That's why I bring him on. That's why I keep him on, guys. But anyways, we had 27 people in the chat. I appreciate you coming through. Do you want to say one more thing to the? I know I keep coming around, but we keep jumping into more.
No,
subjects.
I just want everybody to have a safe. Now, because we're gonna see you in 2 days. So don't do anything stupid, and I'll probably hop on Mark. I'll see some of you over there for a little bit. I probably won't hang in for the whole thing, but so enjoy it, people. We deserve that win. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And hopefully we see everybody Wednesday night for our Titans preview.
Exactly. Thank you for watching us right now. Coming in the chat, you guys have been amazing. A lot of subject matter. That's why we keep jumping around, bouncing around in subjects, because, we want to talk about this stuff. You guys want to talk about this stuff. As a Cowboy Nation, we're definitely at least happy to talk about it, and we're not bitching about it where we could have been if things kind of changed towards the end of that. Get that clock management under control. But again, thank you for coming through. Thank you for watching the replay. Hit that like, hit that share, do anything that you can. But I appreciate the support for the channel. Brian, I appreciate you like always, man. But guys, don't forget to always ring that bell.
Hey! Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, GameTime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.